So now that we know a little bit about special right triangles, remember there's 45 triangles where the legs are the same and the hypotenuse is root 2 times bigger. We also have 30, 60, 90 right triangles where you have to know what the short leg is, okay? And once you know what the short leg is, you multiply by radical 3 to find the long leg, and you multiply by just 2 to find the hypotenuse. Okay, when we are trying to use the facts about special right triangles to determine area and perimeter of certain figures, I will tell you that when you split a square, if I would make a diagonal in this square here, this makes 2 special triangles. Actually, 2 45, 45, 90 special right triangles here. Because remember, the square, the corners of a square are 90 degrees. This diagonal splits those, okay? So now I have a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, 2 of them, okay? It tells us find the area of the square with a diagonal that is 6 root 2 inches. If this diagonal is 6 root 2, to find the sides, we just divide by root 2 and get 6. Okay, area of a square is side squared, okay? So area is 6 squared, and that's going to give us 36. Whenever you're finding the area, it's always units squared. So the units here are inches. This is going to be 36 inches squared. That would be the answer, okay? So when you split a square in the over the diagonal, you make 2 45, 45, 90 special right triangles. Now we have equilateral triangles. When you cut an equilateral triangle in half, we end up with, this makes 2, sorry about that, 2 special right triangles, 2 30, 60, 90 triangles, okay? Two 30, 60, 90 triangles, okay? So up here is the 30 degrees. Because remember, equilateral triangles had angles of 60, 60, and 60. But now when I split 60, half of 60 is 30. So this down here is my 60, and the box is my 90, okay? So it says find the area of an equilateral triangle whose side's length is 36. 36. 36, remember that's the whole base here, and this is 36 over here, okay? So remember the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height, right? So area is 1/2, remember we want to use the whole base, so 36. Now we need to find the height. The height of the triangle is actually, AKA, long leg. It's also referred to as the altitude. I think we'll see that in another example. So remember the relationship with a 30, 60, 90. The hypotenuse, so this side here, is actually twice the length of the short leg. So 36 divided by 2 is 18. And then the long leg, or the altitude, or the height, is root 3 times the short leg. So 18 root 3. That is the height of the triangle. Now we can plug that in here. If you are plugging this all in with your calculator, be sure they are using parentheses because it's just important. Especially, you know, it gets Yeah, just use parentheses. So I plugged it in my fancy little calculator, and I'm like 1/2 times 36, which is 18, times 18 root 3. That gives me 561. We're going to round to the nearest tenth. 561.2 units squared, so centimeters squared. Okay, so squares become 45 45s, triangles become 30 60 90. Here we have a square that the perimeter is 40 inches. Remember, perimeter is adding up all the sides. So divide by 4, and each side is 10 inches. Each side is 10 inches, okay? Now we need to find the diagonal. Let's make our diagonal, which is also the hypotenuse of a 45 45. So to find the hypotenuse of a 45 45, we just multiply the side or the legs by radical 2. So 10 times radical 2 is just 10 radical 2. Now the area is side squared, so that's 10 squared, which is 100 inches. Oh, I wrote 10. Let's see. Oh, come on, you. 100 inches squared. So I found the diagonal and the area. We don't need the diagonal, but make sure you're answering a question so that I know that you know how to find that, okay? Now for number 4, we're going to, the side lengths of an equilateral triangle are 7. This is 7 meters, this is 7 meters, and this is 7 meters. We need to find the altitude, aka long leg or height. That's this distance here. So in order to find the long leg, we go from the hypotenuse, we divide by 2, so I get that this line is 3.5 meters, and you just take the short leg times root 3 and get 3.5 root 3 meters. All right, now we have all the information to find out. Well, let's put this in. 3.5 root 3, that's the altitude. Now to find the area, 1/2 times the base. Remember, you want to use the whole base. I'm going to use 7, 9, 3.5 times the altitude, 3.5 root 3. I'm going to bust out my fancy little calculator, and 1/2 times 7 times 3.5 root 3. So I help if I type in the right thing. That gives me 21.2 meters squared. Okay, we only have one more example here. All right, the altitude of the equilateral triangle is 18 feet. So this vertical distance is 18 feet. The altitude is AKA the long leg. Okay, so to go from the long leg to the short leg, we need to divide by radical 3. So 18 divided by radical 3, you know we can't have them radicals in the denominator, so we need to multiply by radical 3 over radical 3. And then on the top I get 18 radical 3 over. The only reason we multiply this is to rationalize the denominator. When you take radical 3 times radical 3, that just frees the radical. It's just 3. Always check to see if you could reduce 18 over 3, and you can. So that's 6 root 3. So this short leg is 6 root 3. To go from the short leg to the hypotenuse, which is this one side of the equilateral triangle, we just multiply by 2. So times 2, and I get 12√3. Okay, that is all, that's the size, that's actually the whole base, like if I put this down here, 12√3 is the whole base. Now we can plug it in because we need to find the perimeter and the area. Perimeter is just multiplying or adding all the sides up together. So if you took 12√3 times 3, or actually, you know what, let's write it the other way. Let's do 3 times 12√3. I don't want to. 3 times 12√3. That'll give us the perimeter. We're going to round to the nearest tenth again. That gives me 62.4. All right, that was for the perimeter. For the area, we do 1/2 times the base, the whole base, right? 12√3 times the height. This is where, when you put radicals in your calculator, you want to make sure you close off that parenthesis, because if you don't, and you just type in times 18, it's going to think that that 18 is underneath the radical. So please, please take your time. Maybe you want to type it in like this, and have that radical be the last thing you enter, then you won't have to worry about that. But you should get the same answer. So 1/2 times 18 times 12√3, I get 187.1 feet squared. Remember, area is always a unit squared. If I do the other way, times 12√3, close off the parenthesis, times 18, it gives me the same thing. So it's really important that you close off that parenthesis when you open one with the radical button. All right, we have the area, we have the perimeter, we have answered all the questions, I believe. All right, one more, or is there one more? Was this the last one? Let's find out. Oh, snap. It is. All right, so there's another set of worksheets to do for practice for this part of the assignment, or, you know, like part of special right triangle. So let me know if you have any questions. Have an awesome day. Bye.